Subscribe to Storylab for more stories. Now let's begin this one. Chapter 1. The Quiet Life. Randall Kaufman pressed the chisel against the oak, watching thin curls would spiral to the workshop floor. The garage smelled of sawdust and linseed oil, honest smells that reminded him he was no longer the man who could field strip an M4 blindfolded in 15 seconds. 22 years as a Green Beret weapons specialist, and now his hands built furniture instead of dismantling threats. He was 52, with silver threading through dark hair that he kept military shore out of habit. The tattoo on his right forearm, a Green Beret over crossed arrows, and the words de Oppresso Liber peeked from beneath his rolled sleeve. Most days, he forgot it was there. Most days, he was just a widower who made custom cabinets in suburban Atlanta and tried not to think about the man he used to be. The phone rang. Randall glanced at the screen. Trent. His son rarely called during work hours. "Hey, buddy. What's up?" Silence. Then a sound that made Randall's blood freeze. A sob, ragged and desperate. "Dad." Trent's voice cracked. I need help." Randall's hand tightened on the phone. The chisel clattered to the workbench. "Where are you?" "Hospital. Grady Memorial." "Dad, my legs." The line went dead. Randall was in his truck before the phone hit his pocket. The hospital room was too white, too sterile. Trent lay propped against pillows, both legs immobilized and cast from ankle to hip. At 26, his son had his mother's gentle eyes and her optimism. Or he had, until today. Now those eyes were hollow, rimmed with bruises that hadn't come from any fall. "Jesus, Trent." Randall stood frozen in the doorway. "Hey, Dad." Trent tried to smile. It died halfway. "So, bad news about that hiking trip we planned." Randall moved to the bedside, his trained eyes cataloging injuries. Fractured tibias bilateral. Defensive wounds on the forearms. Bruising consistent with a beating, not an accident. The father in him wanted to weep. The soldier calculated trajectories and force required. "Tell me." Trent stared at the ceiling. "You remember I was excited about the job? Clearpath Construction, assistant project manager, good pay. Alfonso Sims, the owner. He seemed legit at first. At first. 3 months ago, the paycheck stopped. Not just mine, the whole crew. Sims kept promising, next week. Meanwhile, we're showing up, working 60-hour weeks on his commercial projects. When guys complained, he'd threaten them. Said he had connections, that we'd never work in Atlanta again." Randall's jaw tightened. "You went to him yesterday?" I thought I could reason with him." Trent laughed bitterly. "I said I'd file a labor complaint if he didn't pay us." He smiled, Dad. Just smiled and nodded to his security guys. 3 of them. They dragged me to a construction site, broke my legs with pipes, and dumped me outside the ER. The machines beeped steadily. Somewhere down the hall, a child cried. Randall felt something old and cold unfurling in his chest, something he'd locked away when he buried his wife, Sarah, 6 years ago. "The address," he said quietly. "Dad, no. These guys are." "The address, Trent." Trent closed his eyes. 2847 Industrial Boulevard. The office complex behind the old steel mill. "But Dad, please, just let the cops." "The cops will take reports. They'll open an investigation. Meanwhile, Sims keeps operating." Randall squeezed his son's hand. "I'll handle this." "Dad, you're not that person anymore. You build furniture now. You have a life." Randall looked at his son's shattered legs. "I'm exactly that person when I need to be." Chapter 2. The Old Guard. The text went out at 9 p.m. Need the old unit. Atlanta. Situation critical. By midnight, 4 men sat around Randall's kitchen table. They hadn't all been in the same room since 2019, but they fell into formation like no time had passed. Francisco Perry spoke first. "Kaufman, 30 years since basic, and you still can't text more than 10 words. He was lean and weathered, with a scar bisecting his left eyebrow, a gift from Kandahar. Now he ran a security consultation firm in Birmingham, teaching corporate types about threat assessment. Needed to see your ugly face to be sure you'd come, Randall said. "For you? Always." Francisco's smile faded. "What's the situation?" Randall laid out Trent's story. As he spoke, he watched his old teammates transform. Milo Peters, the soft-spoken medic who now worked hospice care in Savannah, went very still. Buck Potts, who'd been the unit's demolitions expert and now taught high school chemistry, cracked his knuckles slowly. Edwin Davenport, their former intelligence specialist, now a freelance investigator, pulled out a tablet and started typing. Alfonso Sims, Edwin said, reading. 43. Owner of Clear Path Construction. Multiple labor complaints, none prosecuted. 3 assault charges, all settled out of court. He looked up. This guy's connected. I'm seeing payments to a law firm that represents the Volkov organization. Francisco whistled. The Russian crew? They're moving into construction. Money laundering, Edwin said. Real estate, development projects. Sims is likely a front. He underbids contracts, uses unpaid labor to maximize profit, and kicks percentages upstream to the Volkovs. Buck spoke for the first time, his voice a low rumble. How many security does Sims have? At least 6 regulars, Edwin said. Ex-cons, mostly. Muscle, not trained operators. Tattoos, Randall said suddenly. Trent mentioned Sims stopped smiling when he saw her tattoos. What's that about? Edwin typed. Green Beret, regimental crests. Special Forces tabs. To anyone who knows what they're looking at, those tattoos say one thing. We're not civilians you can push around. He paused. Sims has no military background. But the Volkovs, they have long memories about American Special Forces. We disrupted their operations in Eastern Europe for years. So he'll recognize us, Milo said. He'll be terrified, Francisco corrected. Good. Randall spread a printed satellite image on the table. The office complex. Single-story, L-shaped building. 6 cameras, security shack at the entrance. Sims's office is here, northeast corner. He tapped the photo. We go tomorrow, 10 a.m. Broad daylight. Bold, Buck said. Necessary. We're not sneaking around. We walk in the front door and remind Alfonso Sims there are consequences in this world. Francisco leaned back. And the goal. Get Trent's wages. Get everyone's wages. Shut down Sims's operation. Randall's voice dropped. And make absolutely sure he never touches my son again. Rules of engagement? Milo asked quietly. Minimum force necessary. But I want him scared straight to his soul. The men nodded. They'd been through Mosul, Kandahar, and places that didn't appear on any map. A construction yard bully was nothing. But Edwin's expression was troubled. Randall, if the Volkovs are backing Sims, this won't end with one confrontation. I know, Randall said. We need leverage. What does Sims value? Edwin's fingers flew across the tablet. His reputation, his money, and, he paused. His son, Freddie Sims, age 21, college dropout, works for his father. Multiple arrests for drug possession, assault. Daddy always makes it go away. Randall studied the photo, a young man with Alfonso's arrogant sneer and twice the stupidity in his eyes. Keep tabs on him. If this escalates, I want to know every move Sims and his people make. They planned until 3 a.m. Entry routes, contingencies, communication protocols. It was like riding a bike, except the bike was trained violence and they'd been Olympic-level riders. As the others filed out, Francisco lingered. You doing okay, Randall? I mean, really, my son has 2 broken legs because I taught him to stand up for himself. Randall's voice was hollow. I'm about as far from okay as I've ever been. Then let's make this right. Francisco clasped his shoulder. Tomorrow, we remind Atlanta that some debts always come due. Chapter 3, The Approach. The morning was crystalline, the kind of fall day that made Atlanta gleam. Randall drove in silence, Francisco riding shotgun. Behind them, Milo, Buck, and Edwin followed in a second vehicle. Both trucks were nondescript, registered to shell companies Edwin maintained. You wear your tattoo out? Francisco asked. Randall pushed up his sleeve, exposing the Green Beret crest. Loud and proud today. They parked across from the Clear Path office. Through the chain-link fence, Randall saw the construction yard. Equipment sitting idle, workers milling aimlessly. A sign promised excellence in commercial development. The building itself was cheap prefab, the the kind that sprouted like weeds around boomtime Atlanta. 3 guards visible, Edwin murmured, binoculars up. 1 in the shack, 2 patrolling. Wait, make that 4. 2 more inside, visible through the office windows. Shift change is at 11, Buck noted. We hit them now, we have numbers parity. Randall checked his watch. 9:47. Everyone clear on non-lethal protocols? Nods all around. They'd come armed. Old habits. But today's weapons were psychological. At 9:55, they walked through the gate. The guard in the shack, a boulder of a man with prison tattoos, looked up from his phone. Help you? We're here to see Alfonso Sims, Randall said pleasantly. You got an appointment? Tell him Randall Kaufman is here about his son, Trent. The guard's expression shifted, predatory. Kaufman, huh? Boss mentioned you might show. Stay here. He lifted a radio. While he called in, Randall watched his team spread out casually. Francisco by the fence line, hands loose. Milo near the equipment shed, every exit covered. Buck and Edwin flanking. A loose perimeter that looked accidental and was anything but. 2 more guards emerged from the building. Then a third. They fanned out, and Randall recognized the formation. Amateur, but they'd been coached. Someone had told them how to intimidate. Then Alfonso Sims himself stepped through the door. He was shorter than Randall expected, maybe 5'8", but built thick through the shoulders. Expensive suit, slick back hair, gold watch catching the sun. His smile was a shark smile, all teeth, no warmth. Well, the daddy comes to visit. His voice carried across the yard, pitched for maximum disrespect. You here to beg? Because your punk kid already tried that. Randall walked forward, slow and steady. His team didn't move, but their presence was a wall at his back. I'm here for 3 things. First, the wages you owe my son. $18,000 plus damages. Sims laughed. Damages? That's rich. Your boy damaged my floor when he bled on it. Second, Randall continued as if Sims hadn't spoken. The wages you owe everyone else. I want payroll records, and I want checks cut today. You want a lot, old man. Sims nodded to his guards. Maybe you need a reminder about how things work in my yard. The guards moved in and stopped because Randall had pushed up both sleeves now, exposing his tattoos. Francisco did the same. Then Milo, Buck, Edwin. 5 sets of arms, 10 tattoos. Green berets, special forces tabs, unit patches. The unmistakable marks of men who'd been to places where violence was a language, not a threat. Sims's smile flickered. Who the hell are you? I'm a father, Randall said quietly. But I used to be a Green Beret weapons specialist. 22 years. These are my brothers. Francisco Perry, 12 years, 3 Purple Hearts. Milo Peters, 15 years, Distinguished Service Cross. Buck Potts, 16 years, Silver Star. Edwin Davenport, 14 years, Bronze Star with Valor. Sims looked at his guards. They'd gone pale. One, the boulder from the shack, took a step back. They recognized what they were facing. You don't scare me, Sims said, but his voice had lost its bravado. I got connections. You touch me, you're done. The Volkovs, Randall said. We know. We've been shutting down Volkov operations since 2008. They know us. Trust me, they won't back you if this goes sideways. You're bluffing. Edwin stepped forward, holding his phone out. That's your son, Freddie, 21 years old, currently at Piedmont Park with 2 friends, smoking weed by the lake. Should I call him? Or maybe I call your wife, Carla. Oh wait, she divorced you last year after you hit her. So who exactly will mourn you if you keep making bad choices? The color drained from Sims's face. You're threatening my family? I'm illustrating that your world is very, very small, Edwin said. And ours is very, very large. Sims looked around, at his guards who wouldn't meet his eyes, at the 5 men who stood with the coiled readiness of professional violence, at the workers watching from the yard. He was calculating, Randall could see it, weighing his pride against his fear. You want money? Fine. Sims's voice was acid. My accountant will write checks. All of it, Randall said. Every worker, every contractor. Today. Fine. And you never contact my son again. Ever. If I hear you so much as said his name, I come back with more than harsh words. Sims's jaw worked. This isn't over. Oh, it is. Because here's the third thing I came for. Randall stepped close, inside Sims's personal space. The guards tensed, but Francisco shook his head minutely. They subsided. I came to show you what fear tastes like. I want you to remember this feeling. Every time you think about hurting someone weaker than you, I want you to see my face and remember that there are men in this world who don't tolerate bullies. Big talk. I've killed men with my bare hands, Randall said conversationally. In Kosovo, I spent 3 days behind enemy lines with nothing but a knife. In Syria, I coordinated airstrikes that level buildings. I am very, very good at problem solving, Mr. Sims. And right now, you're a problem. Sims swallowed hard. Get the checks, Randall said. Now. Chapter 4. False Victory. The accountant, a nervous man named Jess Buckley, counted out checks with shaking hands. 63 workers, total payout north of $400,000. Sims watched from his office window, face purple with rage, but he didn't interfere. Randall called Trent from the parking lot. Got your wages. $18,000. I'm depositing it this afternoon. Dad, you really did it. Trent sounded odd. Ow. Let's just say your old man still has a few tricks. Randall glanced at Francisco, who was photographing everything. The checks, the office, the guards. Documentation. How are you feeling? Better now. The doctor says 6 weeks in casts, then physical therapy. I can work from home if I find something remote. Don't worry about work. Focus on healing. Randall paused. I need you to stay with me for a while. Just until things settle. Things? Dad, what? Precaution. Humor your paranoid father. After the call, Edwin approached. We need to talk strategy. Sims paid, but this isn't over. They reconvened at Randall's house. Beers were cracked, pizza ordered. It felt almost celebratory until Edwin dropped the hammer. Sims made 4 calls after we left. 2 to his lawyer, 1 to an unknown number, Russian area code, and 1 to someone local. Edwin pulled up the data. The Russian call lasted 12 minutes. The local one, 2 minutes. Then that local contact made a call to a Georgia State Police captain named Leroy McGuire. Dirty cop? Buck asked. Very. McGuire's been on the Volkov payroll for 3 years. He's their fix-it man, makes investigations disappear, tips them off to raids. Randall set down his beer. So, Sims is calling in favors. More than that. The Russian contact? It's a man named Young Trevino, Volkov's chief enforcer. He arrived in Atlanta 2 hours ago. Edwin showed them a surveillance photo, a lean man with cold eyes and Spetsnaz tattoos. Trevino specializes in cleanup. He's here to send a message. The room went quiet. What kind of message? Milo asked. The permanent kind, Francisco said grimly. They'll come for Randall first. Show that defying them has consequences. Let them come, Randall said. But we move Trent. Tonight. Somewhere they can't find him. I have a place, Milo said. My sister's cabin in North Georgia, off the grid. They'll never find it. Do it. Francisco, Buck, you two pull surveillance on Sims and Trevino. I want to know their movements. Edwin, dig deeper into the Volkov operation. I need leverage. What are you going to do? Francisco asked. Randall smiled grimly. I'm going to give them a target. If they want me, they can have me. But on my terms. That night, Randall moved Trent to the cabin. His son protested. I'm not hiding, but Randall was immovable. This isn't about hiding. It's about not giving them leverage against me. The cabin was remote, accessible only by a winding dirt road. Milo's sister, Letitia Kane, a retired Army nurse, agreed to stay with Trent. She was 60, tough as nails, and carried a .45 like it was an extension of her hand. Anyone comes up that road, she told Randall, they'll regret it. Thank you, Letitia. Your boy's brave. Reminds me of his mother. Sarah would be proud. Randall's throat tightened. She'd be terrified. She'd be proud and terrified. That's parenthood. Letitia squeezed his arm. Go do what you need to do. We're safe here. Back in Atlanta, Randall prepared. He'd anticipated escalation, so he'd taken precautions, stashed equipment, established safe houses, built contingencies. Now he activated them. The bait was simple. He made himself visible. Went to his workshop, the grocery store, his usual haunts. wore bright colors, became an easy target. 3 days passed. Then, on the fourth night, Edwin called. They're moving. 2 vehicles for men plus Trevino, heading toward your house. Copy. I'm ready. Randall waited in the darkness of his living room. No lights, just the weight of his Sig Sauer and 30 years of training. He'd booby-trapped the approaches. Nothing lethal, just flashbangs and pneumatic tripwires that would slow them down. At 2:17 a.m., the first tripwire sang. A yelp of surprise, then cursing. Flashbang detonated with a thunderclap. More cursing, now in Russian. Randall moved to the window. 5 figures were stumbling in his yard, disoriented. Trevino was shouting orders, try to regroup. Amateur hour. They'd expected an easy target, not a defensive perimeter. His phone buzzed Francisco's text. Back door, 2 more. Randall spun. 2 shapes moving toward the rear entrance. He activated the second trap, an industrial strobe light, an ear-splitting alarm. The shapes froze, blinded and deafened. Then headlights swept the street. Buck's truck roared into the driveway, followed by Francisco and Milo. The would-be attackers suddenly found themselves surrounded by men emerging from vehicles with professional precision. Trevino recovered first. Stand down, he barked. His accent was thick, but his English clear. You don't know who you're fucking with. Young Trevino, Randall called from the doorway. Spetsnaz, dishonorably discharged 2014. Currently employed by the Volkov organization as a fixer and leg breaker. We know exactly who we're fucking with. Trevino's eyes found Randall. You made a mistake touching Sims. Sims made the mistake. I'm just the consequences. Randall descended the porch steps. Tell your bosses, leave my family alone, and we're done. Keep pushing, and this gets ugly. This is already ugly. Trevino smiled. You cost the Volkovs money. That has a price. Then let me save you some time. I know about the money laundering. I know Sims is underbidding contracts with unpaid labor, then funneling profits to your organization. I know about Captain McGuire. I know about the kickbacks to city inspectors. Randall paused. And I have evidence. All of it. Currently stored in 3 separate locations with instructions to release it if anything happens to me or my family. Trevino's smile died. You're bluffing. Edwin stepped forward, holding a tablet. Bank records. Emails. Recorded phone calls. We've been busy. You want to call my bluff? Go ahead. But when the FBI shows up at your doorstep, don't say we didn't warn you. Silence. Then Trevino laughed. A harsh, bitter sound. You think you're clever, but you just painted a target on everyone you love. No, Randall said. I just showed you the cost of escalation. Walk away now, and maybe the Volkovs avoid a federal investigation. This isn't over. It is if you're smart. But I'm guessing smart isn't your strong suit. Trevino's jaw clenched. He barked something in Russian. His men retreated to their vehicles, engines roaring to life. But before leaving, Trevino leaned out the window. You should have stayed retired, old man. Probably, Randall agreed. But that ship sailed when Sims broke my son's legs. They watched the taillights disappear. Francisco exhaled. That was a hell of a bluff. Who said it was a bluff? Edwin grinned. I really do have all that evidence. Been compiling it for days. Can we prosecute? Milo asked. With the right pressure, yes. But we'd need someone clean in law enforcement. Captain McGuire isn't the only cop on the Volkov payroll. Randall's mind churned. They'd won round 2, but Trevino was right. This wasn't over. The Volkovs didn't forgive, and they didn't forget. If he wanted permanent resolution, he needed a permanent solution. We escalate, he said finally. Not violence. Information. We feed the evidence to someone who can't be bought. Who? Buck asked. Randall smiled. I know just a person. Chapter 5, The Web Titans. FBI Special Agent Carla Cochran was a legend in the Atlanta field office. Untouchable, incorruptible, and meaner than a snake when crossed. Randall had met her years ago during a joint task force operation, back when he was still in uniform. She'd been a rookie then. Now, she ran the organized crime division. He called her at 7 a.m. Agent Cochran, this is Randall Kaufman. Remember Kabul, 2014? A pause. The Green Beret who saved my ass during that ambush. Yeah. I remember. What do you need, Kaufman? A conversation. Off books. It's about the Volkov organization. I'm listening. They met at a diner in Decatur. Carla looked the same. Sharp eyes, sharper suit, wedding ring on her finger. Randall slid a flash drive across the table. What's this? She asked. 6 months of evidence. Money laundering through construction contracts. Bribery. Assault. At least 2 murders that were ruled accidents. The Volkovs are using Atlanta as a hub. Carla plugged the drive in her laptop. Her expression hardened as she scrolled. Where did you get this? Sources. Let's call them concerned citizens. Concerned citizens with high-level data mining capabilities. She looked up. This is solid, Kaufman. But it implicates a Georgia State Police captain, Leroy McGuire. I know. Can you move on it without tipping him off? Carefully. But why bring this to me? What's your angle? Randall told her about Trent, about Sims, about the escalation. Carla listened, her expression unreadable. So this is personal, she said finally. It started personal. Now it's justice. Justice. Huh. Carla closed the laptop. Kaufman, if I move on this, it'll trigger a federal investigation. Big, loud, and messy. The Volkovs will lawyer up, probably walk on most of it, but will disrupt their operation, freeze assets, make life very difficult. That enough for you? It's a start, but I also need protection for my son. Witness protection? Informal. Just eyes on him until this settles. Carla studied him. You know, there are easier ways to handle this. Anonymous tips. Lawyers. I tried the right way. It didn't work. So I'm using the tools I have. Tools like 4 more Special Forces vets helping you. She smiled grimly. Yeah, I did my homework when you called. You and your unit have been very active this week. Randall said nothing. Look, off the record, I admire what you're doing. But on the record, I have to tell you to stand down and let the Bureau handle it. Noted. That said, Carla tapped the flash drive. If concerned citizens happen to continue gathering evidence, and that evidence happens to reach me, I can't stop them. Understand? Perfectly. Good. Give me 2 days to mobilize. Then I'll come down on the Volkovs like the wrath of God. 2 days. Randall could work with that. But Alfonso Sims, it turned out, couldn't wait 2 days. That afternoon, Buck called. We have a problem. Sims just hired 6 more guards. And not construction site muscle. These guys are professionals. Military contractors. Edwin pulled the files. Mercenaries. 3 former Marines. 2 ex-Blackwater, 1 from some French outfit. They're not cheap. Sims is burning serious money. Desperate men make stupid moves, Francisco said. What's he planning? They got their answer at 6 p.m. Edwin's phone pinged. An alert from the surveillance network he'd established around Sims's properties. Oh hell, Randall, you need to see this. The video showed Freddie Sims, Alfonso's son, drunkenly bragging at a bar. Gonna handle the old soldier boy. Dad says I get to help. Teach him a lesson. Idiot, Buck muttered. Dangerous idiot, Edwin corrected. If Freddie's involved, this isn't a strategic move. This is ego and revenge. Unpredictable. Randall watched Freddie stumble from the bar. Where's he going? Edwin tracked the GPS north. Toward your house. He's coming for me personally. With backup probably. Then we end this tonight, Francisco said. Hard. No more warnings. Randall shook his head. No. We turn around. Make Sims come to us on our terms. Ow. Bait and switch. Milo, call Letitia. I need her to move Trent to the secondary location. His phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. Kaufman. Mr. Kaufman, this is Amos Torres with the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. I'm doing a story about labor practices in the construction industry, and your name came up. Do you have time for an interview? Randall's eyes narrowed. How did you get this number? A source. Mr. Sims, actually. He suggested I speak with you. Of course. Sims was trying to control the narrative, paint Randall as a vigilante. Mr. Torres, I'd love to talk, but not over the phone. Can you meet me? They arranged to meet at a public park. After hanging up, Randall turned to his team. New plan. Sims is trying to make me look like the aggressor. So we give the press a better story. Which is? Buck asked. The truth. All of it. We leak everything to Torres. The wage theft, the assault, the Volkov connection. By the time we're done, Sims won't just be facing the FBI. He'll be facing public outrage. Edwin grinned. I like it. Multi-front attack. Legal, public opinion, and street level. But we still need to handle Freddy, Francisco warned. We will, Randall said. Tonight. But non-lethally. I want him arrested. Not dead. The plan came together quickly. They'd intercept Freddy's crew before they reached Randall's house. Force a confrontation in a controlled location. Specifically, a warehouse Edwin owned. Security cameras everywhere. Evidence galore. And then they'd gift-wrap Freddy for the police. At 10 p.m., they moved into position. Chapter 6, The Reckoning begins. The warehouse was dark, cavernous, and rigged with enough surveillance equipment to make the NSA jealous. Randall stood in the center under a single overhead light. Bait, conspicuous and alone. Outside, his team waited in the shadows. Francisco on the roof with a sniper rifle loaded with rubber rounds. Buck at the electrical panel, ready to control the lights. Milo covering the rear exit. Edwin coordinating from his van, watching through 8 camera angles. At 10:47 p.m., engines rumbled outside. 3 SUVs parked haphazardly, disgorging 12 men. Freddy Sims was easy to spot. Young, cocky, waving a pistol like it was a toy. Kaufman. Freddy's voice echoed. Come out, old man. Randall walked to the open warehouse door. I'm right here. Freddy blinked, surprised. You're supposed to be at your house. Change of plans. Figured I'd save you the trip. The mercenaries spread out, professional but uncertain. One, a grizzled man with a ranger tab visible under his sleeve, squinted at Randall. Wait, are you wearing a... He stopped, recognition dawning. Unit. Randall pushed up his sleeve. The green beret tattoo caught the light. The mercenary cursed. Freddy, your dad didn't tell us we were going after special forces. So what? Freddy sneered. He's one old guy. There's 12 of us. Actually, Francisco's voice echoed from above. There's 5 of us. And we're all here. Lights blazed. Milo stepped from the shadows, Buck from another corner. Edwin remained in his van, but his voice boomed through a speaker. Gentlemen, you're currently on camera. Every angle. If bullets fly, the world will know exactly who started it. The mercenaries looked at each other. The grizzled one lowered his weapon. I didn't sign up to fight other vets. Freddy, your dad's paying us to scare people, not commit assault on camera. I don't care about cameras. Freddy swung his pistol toward Randall. You humiliated my father. You cost him money. You. The gunshot was deafening. But Freddy hadn't pulled the trigger. Francisco had, the rubber round catching Freddy's gun hand. The pistol clattered. Freddy screamed. Non-lethal, Francisco called. But painful. The mercenaries backed away. We're out, the grizzled one said. Keep your money, Freddy. This is fucked. They left. All 6 professionals, engines starting, taillights disappearing. Freddy stood alone with his 5 remaining men. Sims's original goons, too stupid or too loyal to run. Kill him. All of them. The goons charged. It was over in 30 seconds. Buck tripped the first with a sweep kick, then disabled him with a nerve strike. Milo ducked a wild punch and drove his elbow into his solar plexus. Francisco dropped from the rafters onto a third. Edwin activated a pneumatic trap that sent a 4th sprawling. Randall handled Freddy personally, a simple wrist lock that left the young man sobbing on the concrete. Recording everything, Edwin confirmed. Assault. Attempted murder. Trespassing. You just earned yourself a felony, Freddy. My dad will. Your dad is about to have bigger problems than you. Randall released him. The FBI is coming for the Volkovs. When they do, Sims goes down too. And you're an adult. You'll face adult consequences. Sirens wailed in the distance. Carla must have mobilized early. Randall stepped back as patrol cars screeched into the lot. But the lead officer wasn't a stranger. It was Captain Leroy McGuire, the dirty cop on the Volkov payroll. Randall's blood ran cold. Chapter 7, The Betrayal. Captain McGuire stepped from his patrol car with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. He was in his 50s, thick through the middle, with a politician's false warmth. Well, Randall Kaufman, looks like you've been busy. Captain, Randall kept his voice neutral. These men attacked us. We defended ourselves. It's all on camera. Of course it is. McGuire surveyed the scene. Freddie and his goons groaning on the ground. Randall's team standing ready. Thing is, I've got a different report. Says you lured young Freddie here. Assault, kidnapping. Serious charges. Francisco stepped forward. That's bullshit and you know it. Careful, son. I'd hate to add threatening an officer to your list. McGuire's hand drifted toward his weapon. His backup officers, 4 of them, fanned out. All on the Volkov payroll, Randall realized. This wasn't a bust. It was a setup. You're making a mistake, Randall said quietly. The FBI is already mobilizing. FBI's got no jurisdiction until I say they do. And right now, I'm saying you 5 are under arrest. McGuire pulled handcuffs. Hands behind your backs. The team tensed. They could fight their way out, outgunned but better trained. But assaulting police officers, even dirty ones, would make them fugitives. Edwin's voice crackled through the radio. Randall, I'm recording this. McGuire doesn't know I'm here. An idea sparked. Captain, before you arrest us, you should know something. This whole situation, it's on camera. Multiple angles. And the footage is already uploaded to a secure server. If you take us in on false charges, that footage goes public, along with evidence of your connections to the Volkov organization. McGuire's smile hardened. You're bluffing. Edwin Davenport, intelligence specialist, currently in a van 50 yards away, live streaming everything to 3 separate locations. Wave to the camera. Captain. McGuire looked around, trying to spot the van. His officers shifted nervously. Here's what happens next, Randall continued. You let us go. You arrest Freddie and his guys for assault. There's plenty of evidence. Then you walk away and pretend the night never happened. In return, we don't send our evidence to internal affairs. You think you can threaten me? Not a threat. A trade. We both walk away, no one gets hurt. McGuire's face purpled. You know what your problem is, Kaufman? You think you're special because you wore a uniform. But you're not. You're just a civilian now. And civilians follow rules. Funny, Francisco said. I was going to say the same about cops. McGuire drew his weapon. On the ground. All of you. Then headlights swept the warehouse. More vehicles, big, black SUVs with federal plates. Carla Cochran stepped out, flanked by a dozen FBI agents. Captain McGuire, she called. Lower your weapon. This is my jurisdiction. Not anymore. Federal investigation, authorized 2 hours ago. These men are under my protection as witnesses. Carla strode forward, flashing her badge. Now, you can cooperate and maybe save your pension, or you can keep digging yourself deeper. Your choice. McGuire looked at his officers, at the FBI agents at Randall's team. He was cornered. Slowly, he holstered his weapon. This is harassment. This is justice. You'll be hearing from internal affairs. Now get your officers and leave. They went. McGuire shot Randall a look of pure hatred, but he went. Carla turned to Randall. You couldn't wait 2 days? They escalated. We responded. By luring Alfonso Sims's son into a trap? By defending ourselves. On camera. Check Edwin's footage. Carla did, using a tablet Edwin provided. Her expression softened. Okay, you're clean. But Kaufman, you need to stand down now. Let us handle the rest. What about Sims? Trevino? The Volkovs. Raids happening at dawn. Simultaneous hits on 6 Volkov properties, including ClearPath Construction. We'll freeze assets, arrest key players, and dismantle the operation. It'll take months to prosecute, but we'll get them. And my son, protected. I've already assigned a team to the cabin. Randall exhaled. Thank you. Don't thank me. You handed me a career-making case. I should be thanking you. Carla paused. But Kaufman, after tonight, you're done. No more vigilante heroics. Let the system work. Will it work? Really? It'll take time. But yes. She squeezed his shoulder. Go home. See your son. Let's do our jobs. But Alfonso Sims had one last card to play. At 3 a.m., Randall's phone rang. Unknown number again. He answered, already bracing for bad news. Mr. Kaufman. It was Sims, voice tight with barely controlled rage. You've cost me everything. My business, my reputation, my freedom. The FBI will be here in hours. Then you should be calling your lawyer, not me. I'm calling to offer a trade. Your son for my freedom. Ice flooded Randall's veins. What? My people found your cabin. Right now, they're sitting outside. One phone call and they go in. You know what happens then. If you touch my son, you'll what? Kill me? I'm already dead. The Volkovs will execute me for losing their money. But I can at least take something from you first. Randall's mind raced. Letitia was at the cabin, armed and trained. But Sims's people outnumbered her. And Trent couldn't move, not with his legs in casts. What do you want? Randall forced the words out. Meet me. Alone. Industrial Boulevard, the construction site. Dawn. You come alone, I let your son go. You bring help, he dies. How do I know you'll keep your word? Sims laughed bitterly. You don't. But do you really have a choice? The line went dead. Chapter 8. The Final Gambit. Randall stared at the phone, his hand trembling. For the first time in decades, he felt genuine fear. Not for himself, but for Trent. Everything he'd done, all the planning and fighting, had been to protect his son. And now Sims had found the one leverage Randall couldn't ignore. He called Francisco. They have Trent. Silence. Then, we move now. Full assault on the cabin. No time. Sims will give the order the moment he suspects. And Letitia's outnumbered. Then what? I go to the meeting. You follow, unseen. When I have confirmation Trent's safe, we take Sims down. That's a suicide plan. It's the only plan. Randall checked his weapons. Sig Sauer, tactical knife, and a small device Edwin had built. A tracker disguised as a shirt button. I'll wear the tracker. Stay close, but out of sight. When it's time, I'll signal. The team assembled within minutes. They'd been waiting at Randall's house, expecting retaliation. Now, they moved with grim purpose. Edwin called Carla, updated her. She was furious. Kaufman, if you go in alone, he'll kill my son. I don't have a choice. Then at least let us position teams. Too obvious. Sims will have spotters. This has to look like I came alone. Damn it, Kaufman. But Carla understood. Okay, we'll hang back. But the moment it goes sideways, we're coming in. At 5:45 a.m., Randall parked at the construction site. The sky was pre-dawn gray, the world hushed and waiting. The skeletal frames of unfinished buildings loomed like industrial ghosts. Alfonso Sims stood in the center of the lot, flanked by young Trevino and four-armed men. No sign of Trent. You came? Sims said. Foolish, but predictable. Where's my son? Alive. For now. Depends on what happens in the next few minutes. Randall walked forward slowly, hands visible. I'm unarmed. Bullshit. Trevino stepped forward, patting Randall down roughly. He found the Sig Sauer, the knife, the tracker button. Pause at the last one. What's this? Lost button. Was going to sew it back on. Trevino crushed it under his boot. Randall's heart sank. His team couldn't track him now, but he kept his expression neutral. I'm here. Now, let Trent go. Not yet. Sims circled him like a predator. First, I want you to understand something. You think you're a hero, fighting for justice. But you're just a thug with a flag. The only difference between you and me is who gave you permission to kill. The difference is I killed to protect others. You killed to protect your bank account. Sims backhanded him. The blow snapped Randall's head sideways, but he didn't fall. 30 years of training kept him balanced. You've destroyed everything I built. Sims screamed. My business, my reputation, my relationships. The Volkovs will execute me because of you. You destroyed yourself. I just held up a mirror. Sims drew a pistol, aimed it at Randall's head. Any last words? Yeah. Randall smiled grimly. You should have checked if I came alone. Sims frowned. I had spotters. No one followed you. No one you saw. The shot came from a building half a mile away. Francisco's work, firing from an angle no one anticipated. The round caught Sims's pistol, tearing it from his hand. He screamed. Then chaos. Trevino pulled his weapon, but Milo emerged from behind construction equipment, driving a taser into the Russian spine. Buck appeared from an excavation pit, taking down 2 guards with precision strikes. Edwin's van crashed through the fence, spinning to provide cover. The FBI swarmed in seconds later. Carla had ignored Randall's request and positioned teams nearby. Within minutes, it was over. Sims and his men were face down, zip-tied, Miranda rights being read. But Randall wasn't celebrating. "Where's Trent?" Sims laughed through his pain. "You think I'd tell you?" Randall knelt, grabbed Sims by the collar. "I tried doing this the right way, but you keep pushing. So here's your final chance. Tell me where my son is, or I let Trevino go and tell him you sold out the Volkovs for immunity." Sims's eyes widened. "You wouldn't. Try me. The cabin. They're still at the cabin, but they have orders. If I don't call by 6 a.m., they move in." Randall checked his watch. 5:58 a.m. He sprinted to his truck, Francisco and Milo close behind. The drive to the cabin was 90 minutes normally. They made it in 60, running lights and sirens all the way. Chapter 9. Resolution. The cabin was quiet. Too quiet. Randall's truck skidded to a stop, gravel spraying. He was out before the engine died, pistol drawn. Francisco and Milo flanked him, covering angles. The front door hung open. Blood on the porch. Randall's heart stopped. "Trent, we're okay." Letitia's voice from inside. "Stand down." They entered cautiously. The scene was a battlefield. 3 men zip-tied and unconscious on the floor, one with a clearly broken arm. Letitia sat at the kitchen table, calmly cleaning her .45. Trent was in the adjacent room, pale but alive. "What happened?" Randall breathed. "They came at 6:02, Letitia said. 4 of them. Figured they'd overpower an old nurse. They figured wrong." She nodded to the men. 3 down in under a minute. The 4th ran when he realized I wasn't bluffing about the Claymore mine I'd rigged to the back door. "There's no Claymore. They didn't know that." She holstered her weapon. "Your boy was very brave. Didn't panic once." Randall moved to Trent, who was grinning despite everything. "Dad, that was intense." Understatement of a year. Randall hugged his son carefully, mindful of the casts. "It's over now. I promise." "Is it really?" "Yes." And for the first time in days, Randall believed it. 3 weeks later, Randall sat in a courtroom watching Alfonso Sims receive a sentence. 15 years for assault, wage theft, conspiracy, and attempted kidnapping. Young Trevino got 20 for his role. The Volkov organization was in tatters, leadership arrested, assets frozen. Captain Leroy Maguire was under indictment, facing his own reckoning. Outside the courthouse, Amos Torres, the journalist, approached Randall. "Mr. Kaufman, can I get a statement?" "About what?" "Your story. Father takes on organized crime to protect his son. It's compelling." Randall thought about it. "I'm not a hero. I'm just a father who did what was necessary. But if there's a lesson, it's this. Bullies rely on fear and silence. Take those away, and they're powerless." Torres scribbled notes. "And what about you? What's next?" "Back to my workshop. I have furniture to build." Randall smiled. "Quiet life suits me." That afternoon, the team gathered at Randall's house. One last barbecue before everyone returned to their lives. Francisco, Milo, Buck, Edwin, all together, beers in hand. To Trent, Francisco raised his bottle, who survived his father's insane rescue plan. Trent, in a wheelchair but healing, laughed. To my dad and his crazy friends. "Thank you, all of you." They drank. As the sun set, Edwin pulled Randall aside. "You know, this could have ended badly. But it didn't. Because we got lucky. And because Sims underestimated us." Edwin paused. What if he hadn't? Randall looked at his son, laughing with his uncles, and thought about Sarah. What would she say? Probably that he was reckless, that he'd risked too much. But she'd also understand. Family came first. Always. "Then we'd have found another way," Randall said. "That's what we do. We adapt. We overcome." "The presso libere," Edwin said quietly. "To free the oppressed." "Yeah." Randall smiled. "Turns out that doesn't stop just because you leave the service." Later, after everyone had left, Trent maneuvered his wheelchair onto the porch. "Dad, can I ask you something?" "Anything." "Do you regret it? Going back to that world?" Randall considered. "I regret that it was necessary. But no, I don't regret protecting you. I'd do it again in a heartbeat. Mom would have hated this. Your mother would have understood. She always did." Randall sat beside his son. "She made me promise, before she died, to take care of you. I kept that promise. You did more than that. You taught me that it's okay to fight back. That standing up for yourself isn't weakness. It's not, but it's also not the first choice. We tried the right way first. Remember that. They sat in comfortable silence, watching fireflies dance in the yard. Somewhere in the distance, a police siren wailed. Someone else's emergency, someone else's crisis. But here, on this porch, Randall Kaufman was just a father with his son, a woodworker who'd temporarily put down his tools to pick up old weapons. And now, the weapons were stowed again. "Dad," Trent said. "Thank you. Always, son. Always." The fireflies glowed brighter as night fell, and in that moment, everything was exactly as it should be. This is where our story comes to an end. Share your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for your precious time. If you enjoyed this story, then please make sure you subscribe to this channel. That would help me a lot. Click on the video you see on the screen, and I will see you there.